Are you listening?
It was a rainy evening when little Annika's uncle arrived from abroad with a special present. Wrapped in shiny paper, it looked harmless enough, but when she tore it open, her smile froze. Inside was a Labubu doll, its sharp grin stretched, unnaturally wide, glassy eyes gleaming under the dim light. "Isn't it cute?" her uncle asked, forcing a laugh. Annika didn't think so. Something about the doll made her chest tighten, but she didn't want to appear rude. She nodded and clutched it hesitantly. That night, she placed the doll on a chair across her bed and tried to sleep. The storm outside rattled the windows, thunder rolling like drums in the distance. She pulled her blanket close. Around midnight, she stirred. Her room was silent, too silent. Then came it, a faint, breathy whisper. So soft she thought it was the wind at first, but no. The voice was inside her room, closer, repeating her name. Annika, Annika. Her eyes started toward the chair. The Labubu doll was still sitting there, its head slightly tilted, its grin wider than before. The next morning, Annika carried the Labubu doll everywhere, not because she liked it, but because she was afraid to leave it alone. She swore its eyes moved whenever she turned her back. In the afternoon, while coloring in her sketchbook, she glassed up. The doll sat on her desk. Its glossy black eyes seemed fixed on every motion. She shifted her chair to the corner of the room, yet the gaze followed. "Stop looking at me," she whispered. Of course, the doll didn't respond, but its smile somehow looked sharper. That evening, Annika tried to tell her parents, "Mama, the doll's watching me." Her father chuckled. "It's just a toy, Benita. You've been watching too many cartoons." Her mother sighed and tucked her into bed, moving the doll onto the shelf. "See, nothing to be afraid of." At 2 a.m., the mother stirred from her sleep, thirsty. As she passed Annika's room, she noticed the door was slightly open. She peeked inside. Her heart skipped. The Labubu doll was not on the shelf. It was sitting right on Annika's pillow, its head turned toward the doorway, and then she saw it. A slow, deliberate blink. The mother gasped, slamming the door shut, but when she opened it again seconds later, the doll was back in its place, motionless, grinning. Only the echo with a faint giggle lingered in the room. For the next few nights, Annika's sleep grew restless. Every time she closed her eyes, she felt the doll's presence. Sometimes she would awaken and find it closer than where she had left it. Sometimes she thought she heard its little feet tapping across the floor. One morning, her mother noticed something strange while cleaning Annika's room. On the pale pink wall beside the bed were thin, jagged lines, like someone had dragged nails down the plaster. "Annika, did you do this?" her mother asked sternly. The girl shook her head. "No, Mama, it was Labubu. He was trying to climb." Her mother frowned. "Don't be silly." She painted over the scratches, but the marks seemed to bleed through again by evening. That night, Aiko woke to a faint sound. Skrrk, skrrk, skrrk. She sat up, her tiny heart racing. Moonlights filled through the window, illuminating the wall. And there it was. Fresh scratches forming right before her eyes, as if invisible fingers were etching them slowly, carefully, deeper. Annika clutched her blanket. Her eyes darted towards the corner of the room. The Labubu doll sat upright facing the wall, its tiny hands pressed flat against the plaster. With each screeching stroke, The scratches spread wider, almost spelling out something. A single word, half-formed. Play. It was 3 a.m. when Annika suddenly sat up in bed. She didn't know why she awoke, only that the air felt heavier, like the room itself was holding its breath. Then she heard it, a faint, high-pitched giggle. At first, she thought it was coming from outside, maybe a tile passing in the street, but when she looked toward the window, the neighborhood was silent. The laughter came again, softer, closer, curling through the darkness like a secret. Annika's eyes darted toward the desk. The Labubu doll was sitting right where she had left it, but its grin seemed wider, its teeth sharper in the moonlight. "Who's there?" she whispered, clutching her blanket. The giggle answered, this time from the foot of her bed. She froze, her small hand trembled as she reached for the knit-side clamp, but before she could twitch it on, the giggle burst out again. Louder, overlapping like two voices laughing together. Her parents rushed into the room when they heard her scream. The lamp limped on, and the room looked normal. The doll was back on the chair, motionless. Her father scolded, "Enough of these nightmares, Annika," but as he turned to leave, her mother stopped cold. On the blanket, right where Annika had been sitting, were tiny, wet footprints, leading straight toward the doll. That night, despite her fear, Annika finally drifted into sleep. But instead of peaceful dreams, she found herself standing barefoot in a dark forest. The trees loomed unnaturally tall, their branches twisting like skeletal hands. The air smelled of wet earth, heavy and rotten. Somewhere in the distance, she heard that giggle again. Annika. Her heart pounded. She turned, and there it was, the Labubu doll. Only it wasn't small anymore. It's at her height, its grin chest from ear to ear, jagged teeth glinting in the shadows. It tilted its head, then it ran, not waved toward her. Annika bulleted through the forest, branches tearing at her nightdress. She stumbled, fell, scrambled up again, but no matter how fast she moved, the sound of tiny feet followed. Skittering, scratching, closer and closer. Suddenly, she tripped and landed in a shallow puddle. Her hand sank into mud when she pulls them out. The soil was thick with worms mixing between her fingers. "Play with me," the voice whispered right in my sacred ear. She turned, and the Labubu face was inches from hers, its black eyes swallowing the light. The doll's clawed hand reached out, brushing her cheek. Annika screamed and snapped awake in her home bed. Panting, she touched her face where the doll had touched her in the dream. Her skin burned faintly. She swung her legs over the side of the bed, desperate to convince herself it was only a nightmare. That's when she froze. Her feet sank into damp soil. On the white fed sheet beneath her were smears of fresh mud. Over the next few days, Annika noticed something odd. Her other toys began to disappear. At first, it was small things, a missing ball, a teddy bear gone from the shelf. Then, one by one, her dolls vanished too. "Mama, someone's taking my toys." Annika complained. Her mother searched the room but found nothing. "You probably misplaced them, sweetheart." But Annika knew and thinks she remembered exactly where each toy had been. One evening, while crawling under her bed to grab her chute, she saw some things that made her blood run cold. There, hidden in the shadows, were her missing toys, not whole, not safe, torn apart. Her teddy bear was ripped
open, stopping swirling like controls. Adults porcelain head was cracked down the middle. Even her toy car was smashed, wheels bent inward, and the very center of the pile sat the Labubu doll, smiling. Its tiny hands stayed with fluffy and fabric fibers, as though it had been clawing through them. Annika backs away, trembling. But at night, she begged her parents to take the doll away. Her father, annoyed, snatches it up. "It's just a toy, Annika. I'll give it in the garage, okay?" He tosses the Labubu doll into his spare storage room at the end of